Theft of catalytic converters is big business. Catalytic converter theft has become a major criminal enterprise because these vehicle parts contain valuable precious metals, including platinum, palladium, and rhodium. These metals are used to reduce harmful emissions from vehicle exhaust systems and can be sold for high prices.
They hit these a lot because they're up high off the ground. They can get under real quick and get out.
Susan White is talking about her fleet of employee transport vans.
This side you can probably see better.
She showed us where thieves crawled under one of her vans and sawed off the catalytic converter, which is part of the truck's exhaust system.
We've had 6 of them gone.
6 vans, 6 catalytic converters. Inside a converter are precious metals like platinum, rhodium, and palladium, some worth more than gold. Today, the catalytic converters under White's fleet are protected with a steel cage to prevent thieves from taking them. They weren't cheap to replace.
It's about $1,500 per vehicle.
Groveport Police Detective Josh Gilbert tied the catalytic converter thefts of Susan White's vans to 15 others. All of them, he says, were at the hands of this man, 41-year-old Tommy Cox of Columbus, a father of 5 and a grandfather.
Basically, Mr. Cox was paying individuals to go cut catalytic converters as well as cutting them himself.
Before his arrest, police say Cox was the leader of a catalytic converter theft ring. He was able to find his victims using a $30 piece of technology that's used to find your car keys.
So this is a simple Apple AirTag.
Detective Gilbert says Cox would place the tracking device under someone's car and wait for them to park.
We found this one in Muskingum County. Okay, it was underneath a vehicle that was cut. The converter was missing.
Cox lived in this South Columbus home. It's heavily surrounded with surveillance cameras. Police say he used them to help escape capture at least once. When SWAT did catch him and his girlfriend, Shannon Vance, they found guns, a credit card making machine, along with catalytic converters. Police connected Cox to more than 1,000 of them. But how could he sell so many? The law only allows one person to sell 1 catalytic converter per day per scrapyard.
Apparently, he found this loophole. He's one of the first ones that we've come across that have found this loophole.
That loophole allows anyone who forms a business with the Secretary of State's office to sell as many catalytic converters as they want. And it doesn't require people to prove ownership.
This does affect everybody because it drives up insurance rates and things of that nature. So in a sense, everybody's a victim.
So what's being done to stop the thefts, to make it harder for crooks to sell bundles of catalytic converters?
If the scrap metal dealers, frankly, were policing themselves, they wouldn't be looking at additional regulations.
Young says his bill would close the scrap metal loophole.
The biggest thing the bill's going to do is require that scrap metal dealer to show proof of ownership for every single catalytic converter that they're purchasing.
Detective Gilbert says the law could be better by eliminating cash payments to scrappers. As for Tommy Cox, he's sitting behind bars with 32 felony counts and a bond of $4 million.
He got a higher bond than most murderers.
A massive pile of catalytic converters stuffed inside this storage unit near 36th Street in Washington. Phoenix police detectives made the discovery Thursday afternoon. Detective Adam Populier's reaction after serving the search warrant?
Awe. It was just definite awe.
The suspect now identified as 48-year-old Shelton Ford. Populier tells me police recovered more cat converters in Ford's truck, and he just finished impounding 1,302 converters into evidence.
I would say at least half had the typical markings of being stolen, you know, the cut ends, the damaged pipes. Others looked like they had been unbolted, so they could have come from other places.
Ford's criminal history dates back to 1999. According to court records, police say Ford drove drunk at a high rate of speed multiple times on a suspended license from 2008 to 2009. He pled guilty to aggravated DUI and served about 10 years in prison until his release in 2019. Detective Populier says there's a high demand for platinum, palladium, and rhodium, the precious metals inside cat converters.
It was just very surprising that he himself didn't sell them to get the money for them. I don't know why he was storing them.
Now that House Bill 2652 is law, it's illegal to buy, sell, possess, or advertise a used cat converter. That doesn't apply to licensed automotive recyclers and scrap metal dealers, although dealers must report transactions to DPS.
If we go online and see somebody that is advertising to buy or sell a catalytic converter and they're not a scrapyard, then that in itself is a Class 1 misdemeanor.
It's a sound you don't want to hear.
And I was all, oh my gosh, what is that?
But sadly, it's become all too recognizable.
I said, I bet they stole my catalytic converter.
That's where it was.
Catalytic converters.
And that's where it's going to go.
The smog-reducing devices connected to the tailpipe under your car are a prime target for thieves these days. Under cover of the night, they slither under cars armed with a flashlight and a battery-powered saw, slice the prize converters off, and dash away.
2 minutes. They're really proficient at it.
They're like NASCAR. They pull up. There's a jack guy. There's a saw guy.
Muffler shops across the Bay Area and the state are seeing an all-time record number of victims coming in.
We used to see 1 or 2 a month. Now we're seeing 4 or 5 a day.
What the thieves are after is what's inside this catalytic converter that's part of your exhaust system. It's a honeycomb containing precious metals, palladium, platinum, and rhodium that's now worth 15 times more than gold.
The price probably was $2,000 a year ago, and then it shot to $4,000, and now it's $28,000.
That's per ounce. Jeffrey Christian with CPM Group, a commodities research consulting company, says the skyrocketing price reflects extremely short supply. Rhodium is a byproduct of platinum mining that's way down due. At the same time, emission standards around the world are way up, especially in China. So demand is higher than ever.
Get out of here, go!
It's the perfect storm for cat converter thieves who have become so brazen, they'll even strike during the day.
It was my grandma's Prius. Grabbed my clothes and just ran out trying to scare them off.
Police have made some high-profile arrests. The biggest last summer in Elk Grove near Sacramento netted more than 1,700 cat converters and $300,000 in cash.
That was kind of like hitting the lottery for us.
Sacramento County Sheriff's Detective Tom McHugh led the multi-agency task force on the case. He says the street-level thief will sell a catalytic converter for on average $200 to a middleman. The middleman waits until he has about 10 to 20 devices. Then he takes his cut and sells his load to the fencing operation. From there, investigators say the converters go to underground decanters who cut the canisters open and take out honeycombs full of precious metals inside. Those honeycombs are then sent to often illegal smelters.
I would say that network is larger than California. Really? It's vast.
Once distilled, the precious metals are untraceable and are sold to manufacturers around the world to make new catalytic converters to replace the stolen ones. It's a vicious cycle that is causing lots of people lots of pain, especially if you don't have insurance to cover the loss.
And that's where it really hurts, because who has $2,000 lying around?
But catching the bad guys isn't easy, because even though selling the converters without proper paperwork is illegal, possessing them is not.
And we'd like to see it illegal to possess them unless you have paperwork.
For now, consumers can protect themselves with anti-theft devices sold on the internet. And since Priuses are a top target, Toyota now offers a custom covering plate. Prius catalytic converters are the most vulnerable to theft because they contain more precious metals than other cars of similar size. But investigators like Tom McHugh believe it's the manufacturers who should ultimately be stepping up to the plate by incorporating anti-theft designs right from the start on the assembly line. Unfortunately, he suspects they have no incentive to do the right thing because they also manufacture the replacement parts.
It's a billion-dollar-a-year industry all by itself, because every time your catalytic converter gets stolen, it has to be purchased, and it's purchased from the manufacturer.
Federal agents swooped into this New Jersey mansion, part of a coordinated nationwide takedown of a crime ring trafficking in stolen catalytic converters. The Justice Department says 21 people were arrested in 5 states for their roles in the conspiracy, including 13 in Oklahoma.
I see huge trucks, guys with assault rifles or, guns drawn and shields, and apprehending some guys. And so after that, it's just, it's been nonstop police presence.
It can take less than a minute for thieves to slide under a vehicle and steal its catalytic converter. The devices are part of the exhaust system, converting toxic gas into safer emissions. They also contain precious metals, and the price on the black market can top $1,000 each. Cashing in for more than $545 million. With the price of metals on the rise, thefts have exploded.
I think it's important to note that the defendants in this case were living a nice life. and they were doing so because they were stealing catalytic converters from people.
A nice life, full of high-end vehicles, fine jewelry, and multiple homes, including a rented waterfront property in Lake Oswego. Police say the lavish lifestyle led by ringleaders 32-year-old Brennan Doyle and 32-year-old Tanner Helbush was funded by the millions of dollars they made from trafficking roughly 44,000 stolen catalytic converters. But after a year-long investigation, 8 properties allegedly connected to the ring and seized more than 3,000 catalytic converters, hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash, along with several of the high-priced items. As 5 of the 14 people accused of participating in the theft ring appeared in Washington County Court today, District Attorney Kevin Barton had this to say about the impact of their alleged crimes.
Quality of life crimes have a direct impact on the livability in our community. They often disproportionately and negatively impact the financially vulnerable and the historically marginalized as they strain resources of both small businesses and families alike.
A sentiment echoed by neighbors who live next door to Doyle's rented Lake Oswego home.
Crime is going to happen wherever you go. The fact, though, that it was so close and the fact that they actually took food out of people's mouths by the stuff that they were doing, that's the irritating part to me that bothers me.
And it's not surprising because we get the little Ring doorbell announcements that catalytic converters are being stolen, so it's interesting that it was so close to home.
Since police confirmed the suspects have been released, we knocked on the door of that Lake Oswego property to talk with Doyle. And while we could hear people inside, no one answered. We asked neighbor Jason Frankel how he felt knowing the alleged ringleader was back next door. And while he says he has faith in the justice system, he tells us,
taking advantage of people like that, they'll get what they earned.
OEM catalytic converters are made by the same manufacturer that produced your vehicle's original part. They're designed to meet the exact specifications of your car, ensuring a perfect fit and performance. But with that precision comes a higher price tag and no mandated warranty if used outside that original 8-year, 80,000-mile warranty period. On the other hand, aftermarket catalytic converters are produced by third-party manufacturers like AP Emissions. They're more affordable and meet or exceed emission standards. But not all aftermarket catalytic converters are created equal. AP Emissions uses a proprietary meso catalyst loading process, placing generous amounts of rhodium, palladium, and platinum precisely where they're needed for maximum durability, performance, and efficiency. Our EPA and CARB aftermarket catalytic converters are built to last with a 5-year, 50,000-mile warranty. Our federal converters have double the warranty coverage of other aftermarket options at a fraction of the cost of OE. Before you replace your catalytic converter, it's crucial to diagnose and fix the underlying issue that caused that failure in the first place. Catalytic converters are designed to last the life of your vehicle, but they can fail prematurely due to issues like engine misfires, faulty O2 sensors, air-fuel ratio sensors that are lazy, or even an exhaust leak. If you don't address these root causes, replacing the converter alone won't solve your problem. And you could find yourself right back where you started with another failed converter and a check engine light that just won't stay off. Remember, a new catalytic converter is a significant investment, whether you choose OE or aftermarket. By identifying and repairing the actual cause of the failure, whether it's a misfire, sensor issue, or a vacuum leak, you'll protect your new converter and ensure it performs as intended for years to come.
But they're loaded with precious metals: platinum, palladium, and rhodium. Often, the price tag can be more than your monthly rent. Let's get specific because people always want numbers. The average catalytic converter price for a standard car is anywhere between $100 and $1,000 just for the part. Honda, Toyota, and Ford all sit somewhere in the middle, usually around $250, $700. The real wallet buster is for hybrid and luxury brands. A Toyota Prius Cat, which is absolutely the prime target for thieves, can go for $1,300 or even more. Prius drivers have become the walking around with gold necklaces of the parking lot. Honestly, the core pain point here is replacement costs. Installation and labor, depending on the shop, can tack on $200 to $500 easy. Suddenly, you're looking at a repair bill of $1,000 to $2,000 if your cat is stolen. Heavy-duty vehicles and trucks? That's another universe. Diesels, like the ones on a Ford F-250, can go $1,500 or beyond. Semi-trucks sometimes have units so big, we're talking $3,000 or more. Your wallet doesn't just ache, it begs for mercy. For people who wonder why these things could cost more than a used Toyota Corolla, here's a pro tip. It comes down to metals trading, not just shape or size. Rhodium, for instance, has hit $25,000 per ounce. Sounds bonkers, but that's the actual market. If you're planning to buy a converter, maybe to replace one stolen in the wilds of Portland, my advice is to check specific part numbers. Not all converters are built alike. OEM converters cost double what you'll pay for a generic or aftermarket part. But there's a catch. Most people don't realize that cheap aftermarket converters can fail emissions tests, which adds a whole new layer of pain. Plus, they hold almost no resale value. Scrapyards barely want them. A lot of shady folks are out there too, flipping stolen converters online. Don't risk buying from a sketchy seller. It's illegal, and you don't want a cop searching your garage because you scored a $600 deal on OfferUp. When asking about a price list, people also want to know which cars have the most valuable converters. As of this year, Toyota Prius, Honda Accord, and certain Mercedes and BMW models are at the top. Prius cats keep cracking $1,000 no matter what. There's even an entire underground market for converter price lists, updated daily based on precious metal prices. Pro tip: try searching Scrap Catalytic Converter Price List plus the current year, and you'll find a dozen resources with up-to-the-hour pricing. One last headache? Insurance rarely covers the full cost of cat theft, thanks to high deductibles and depreciation. Always calculate your actual out-of-pocket risk. Sometimes a $250 anti-theft shield pays for itself instantly.
Catalytic converters help prevent carbon monoxide and other harmful gases from contaminating the air we breathe outside. Although it's unlikely that you'll ever need to repair or replace yours, they do occasionally break. The majority of catalytic converter issues are related to the engine. Today, we're diving into a common concern for car owners: catalytic converter replacement cost. We'll break down the lifespan of a catalytic converter and provide valuable insights. So, if you're curious about what to expect when facing this essential car repair, keep watching. Okay, let's get down to it. How much does a catalytic converter replacement cost? Depending on the model, a replacement for a direct fit option can cost anywhere between $300 and $2,500 simply for the part. Also, keep in mind that installing the converter could cost between $70 and $130 per hour of labor. You will save money on labor if you perform this task yourself, but the catalytic converter itself is sometimes the most expensive part. Although the task can be time-consuming, it's frequently not too challenging, especially if you purchase a direct replacement catalytic converter. To cleanse toxic exhaust gas, the catalytic converter uses platinum, palladium, or rhodium as a catalyst. They are expensive, ranging from $59.70 to $260.42 per gram, and hard to find. It follows that the cost of cats will fluctuate along with metal prices. Don't just throw your damaged catalytic converter. The damaged catalytic converter can be recycled, preserving the precious metal inside. Now, how long do catalytic converters last? The brand and type of the car, the driver's behaviors, and maintenance routines are just a few of the variables that might affect a catalytic converter's lifespan. Generally speaking, a catalytic converter with regular maintenance can last up to 10 years or 100,000 miles or longer. However, extreme conditions, such as exposure to tainted oil or fuel, could cause the converter to fail early. The converter may also wear out more quickly if the engine is improperly tuned or if the exhaust system is malfunctioning. The catalytic converter can survive as long as feasible with regular upkeep and inspections. In conclusion, understanding the cost of catalytic converter replacement is crucial for budgeting and maintaining your vehicle.
Now let's get into the specifics of which converters are prized. Toyota Prius converters, particularly from 2004 to 2009 models, are often top of the list. They contain more rhodium than typical converters, with rhodium fetching upwards of $14,000 per ounce. In 2023, that's a significant payday. Luxury car catalytic converters also bring in good money. Think about brands like Mercedes-Benz and BMW. They use high-quality converters packed with essential metals to meet stringent emission regulations. it's not just the luxury ride. The scrapyard values these more too. Pro tip, always check if the converter is original equipment manufacturer OEM. Aftermarket converters typically have fewer precious metals, which translates to less cash when scrapped. Scrapyards will often pay based on OEM status. So that's a quick way to increase your return. Pain point alert location impacts scrap prices. A converter sold in Portland may not fetch the same price as in Los Angeles. Different markets have varying demand, which can raise or lower your payout. Always shop around and, compare prices in multiple locations. Sometimes people miss out on extra dollars by not removing the converter themselves. Selling a complete vehicle to a scrap dealer typically results in a lower overall payout because dealers assume the effort and risk in extracting the converter. DIY can boost your profit by up to 30%. Next on the list are truck converters, particularly from brands like Ford and Chevy. Truck converters are larger and tend to contain more precious metals, making them attractive to scrap buyers. They're like the big ticket items in the catalytic world. And when you're ready to sell, get a clearer picture of what's inside by using an XRF analyzer. It identifies the specific metal content, enabling you to get a precise quote from the scrapyard. Without it, you're at the mercy of whatever they say is inside. Don't forget that law enforcement is cracking down on catalytic converter theft. Regulations now require proper documentation to sell them legally, such as proof of vehicle ownership. It eliminates some of the hassle, but ensures a legit transaction for everyone involved. One more thing, be mindful of the environment. By recycling your converter responsibly, you contribute to sustainable practices. Those recycled metals can be used in new converters, reducing the need for raw material mining. It's a win-win financially and environmentally. The bottom line, not all catalytic converters offer the same returns, but knowing which ones are hot can maximize your payday. All it takes is some research, maybe a little wrench work, and a keen eye on market trends. Keep it smart and legal, and you're good to go.